Okay, so this is my presentation for my proposal in methods of research entitled Non-Invasive Prediction of Blood Glucose Levels. Okay, just a bit of a background. Diabetes or diabetes mellitus is defined as a group of metabolic diseases characterized by high blood sugar over a prolonged period of time. So there are two types where we have type 1, which is insulin dependent. So it means that the body does not make enough insulin on its own. It can develop at any age, and there's no way to know, or there's no known way to prevent it. There's type 2, which is insulin resistant. Body cannot use insulin properly, though it can produce it in a limited way. And it can develop at any age, and most cases have been prevented. So a lot of people don't get symptoms, especially in type 2, and they don't notice it at all. This means that some people might have it for a long time and undiagnosed. So over a long period of time, had a high glucose level in the blood can seriously damage the parts of the body like eyes or kidney or the nerves. Okay, so commercially available glucose monitors are okay, but of course it's really painful and inconvenient to use them in getting the samples. And of course, we have continuous blood glucose monitors. You have it, but it's also inconvenient because it needs to stay on your body for a week. So I was thinking of ways to do that. I was diagnosed with diabetes 10 years ago, and I'm thinking of ways to create a device to just to monitor it. Some review of related literature. So I searched on topics about possible ways to measure or correlate somehow the blood glucose level using different methods like electrical or even uh, exhaled breath, PSI, even saliva. So those things, some of the research methods used are like here in condensed breath, carbon monoxide, ultrasonic, electromagnetic, or photometric and enzymic. The device used are various, so from commercially available to created devices and even strips. So those things are used. Sample sizes vary from the different researches that I see. So from big subjects to a few people, but the conclusion shows promise in almost all the studies that I see, though it still needs some validation in some areas. But I see that in the future, it can be a viable option for measuring glucose level. So some of the research gap that I saw is, or even I experienced myself because again, I'm diagnosed as type 2 diabetic already, is first the pain and then the uncomfortable feeling in picking yourself. It's really invasive. You take blood samples, especially in clinical tests. It's very expensive. The strips, traditional blood glucose monitors, you need to buy it and you need to use the strips only once. And other things like limited real-time data because, of course, it's just a single reading. And for clinical studies, it's just taken for a period of 3 months and then you go back again. It's prone to errors if you don't have the proper strips or you use uh, an erroneous device. And of course, it's inconvenient to do so. So a question that it will be answered by the research is, can a non-invasive method of getting the glucose level measurement be used as an alternative to traditional invasive methods in patients, especially with diabetes, because that's where it will be really useful. So the aim of the capstone project is to create a non-invasive method of estimating blood glucose levels for individuals with diabetes. The object is to design and develop a device or system that is user-friendly, precise, dependable, and can be utilized in both clinical and home settings. Scope of which will focus on individuals with type 2 diabetes or probably with pre-diabetes, because that, again, that will be very useful for them. It's a period of 2 months in home of the subject, or somehow for the convenience of it, the device will be created to gather the data in parallel. A subject will measure using the traditional way just to get the comparison for that. Methodology is for data collection. A CGM will be used, or a traditional glucometer device will be used, and the participant collects data. Probably other measurements like using a smartwatch or smartphone, like temperature, the heart rate, and other things. Some data collection method, uh, interpretation method, I'm sorry, I think there's a correction here. Descriptive statistics, just to summarize the data collected, using graphs. Inference shows statistics just to compare the accuracy, and I plan to develop a model for this so that the prediction will be done uh, using the device itself, like a display or something, or a graph. Correlation analysis will also be done to determine the relationship between the non-invasive and the invasive traditional one. So actually, I made something before. It's a glucometer, something like this, but this is based only on carbon monoxide, and I see the correlation before, so I want to improve on this to try another gas measurement or breath. So that's it. Thank you so much for listening.